We thought at first it was monsters or wolf mountains. But then we got used to it and went to sleep. My father couldn't sleep that time. Or anybody. Around midnight, he got up and went outside with a flashlight and some blocks in the driveway. He was out there a long time trying to hit them, make them shut up. The dogs didn't care a thing about man with the flashlight. So they just came out. And as soon as he went back inside, they started to call again. So he told me and my brother $1 for every frog he killed. $1 was a lot of money in those days. We wanted to save up for a 55 DeSoto. The ads had said, here is a car that translates your wishes into action. Almost with the speed of thought.
I'm going to skip all these next. So if you can play the slide, but then we move to the next one. Yeah.
Shot them with a TV gas and daisy. We only got the young and foolish ones. As it grew dark, we would wait in silence, hoping we'd hit the grandfathers at last, but no. As soon as it was dark enough to suit them, they began to call. You know why they're doing that,
so we'll go to In Memory of Gentle Giant.
It's because they're horny.
Okay.
We thought that was pretty cool. Frogs might be slimy and have eyes that stick way out like nipples, but
yes.
But they understand what's important in life, and they understand how to hide.
Because I want this to be longer.
In order to hide, you don't just get under something or behind something, you become something else. Then no one can get you. You don't even exist anymore. The old ones knew how to become some water working some darkness. You walk quite fast.
I was going to talk about other musicians that have made an impact in my life, but I'm going to skip that part because it's basically, I think we all have this experience, and I want to move on to another slide that is this one, yes. And I also had the privilege to collaborate with the late guitarist Davy Williams, a renowned free improviser. Let me play another sound portrait, this time featuring Davy Williams on electric guitar with his signature electronics, along with a gated collage of audibles from recordings by the progressive band Gentle Giant. So I could tell this guitar playing a mile away. So here's a disembodied audible from a recording by Gentle Giant again. to bring the conversation into the realm of context. So by now we have examined two of the realms of perception encoded in every sound, content and character. The third realm, context, what surrounds the sound source, is closely related to my upcoming sound installation at the Botanical Gardens atrium starting September 6. Every sound carries information about the surroundings. Similar to the spinning coin we just heard, activating its environment, a sound reveals aspects such as space, motion, distance from the microphone, reflection of the surfaces, and the resonance of the surroundings. These descriptions provide the context in which the sound occurs. Generally, a sound source enhances our perception of space, location, motion, distance, altitude, scale, and environment by activating its context. The notion of a soundscape combines the ideas of the landscape with the sounds that can be found within it. Next, I'll present two fictional soundscapes I composed in response to proposals for public art, one outside a swimming pool area and another for underwater recordings playback inside the pool. The first one is the aerial is this one. Many of these sounds are recorded in my neighborhood, the Everglades. And because I use a lot of local sounds, I consider myself a local artist. Miami art. Yeah. And the aquatic sounds sound like this. Okay. Meanwhile, architecture expresses itself in sound through acoustics. When entering a building, it is possible to sense its acoustics. However, only when a sound happens inside a space that we can truly perceive its acoustical character. I'll do something. Okay? So this is something that most acousticians will do inside a space to try to feel what the space sounds like. The realization struck me when I visited the buildings of the renowned Spanish architect Gaudí in Barcelona. Even in silence, these buildings possessed the most inviting and beautiful acoustics. Each architecture has its own unique acoustical signature defined by resonance, specific frequencies that spaces tend to favor. My goal in the creation of a sound installation is to render audible the otherwise hidden acoustical signature of a particular room. I achieved this goal by creating tones that align with the room's specific resonances. One thing I find exciting is that these resonances don't always coincide with the typical tunings of a musical scale. From single sustained tones to complex chords, my installations consist of tones that come in and out and combine to create an atmosphere of interwoven sonorities that feel perfectly natural in interaction with the architecture. My final audio sample is of a sound installation called Soundscape with Grasshoppers, created 9 months ago for the Monolith space at Bridge Studios in North Miami. The sculptures you see in the picture are by Miami artist Robert Tilley. And this is what that installation sounds like. In describing his own work, Miami-born sound artist and my mentor in the late 80s, Russell Frelling, put it best. He said, sound installations exist in a unique space between music and sculpture. These works present sound as an invisible, weightless material that occupies space and functions in 3 dimensions. In this context, sound's physicality becomes the central focus. Shape, texture, density, and spatial arrangement becomes the objects of contemplation. So in conclusion, sound is a faithful representation of reality and unveils itself as audible manifestation of change and transformation. Throughout this lecture, we have explored the multifaceted nature of sound. We have discovered that sound is not merely a collection of waves, but a powerful tool for discovery, allowing us to experience, explore, and experiment with the world around us. I'd like to stop here because there's a whole other page I have to read. So if you're still into it, I will do it. Okay, we have recognized sound as a descriptive language capable of representing and conveying a wide range of phenomena. Its elements of frequency and amplitude shape its dynamic nature, reflecting the ever-changing essence of our reality. Moreover, we have uncovered the three aspects that inhabit every sound: content, character, and context. These aspects provide us with a deeper understanding and interpretation, painting a vivid sonic portrait that enriches our perception of the world. In embracing sound's character and context, we unlock new dimensions of meaning and emotion. We have come to appreciate that every sound, every source possesses its own unique character, contributing to the tapestry of our auditory experience, and that uniqueness and diversity are inalienable. Did I write that word? Qualities that render sound useful. Finally, we have explored the influence of content, the motion, distance, and architectural settings that shape our perception and interpretation of sound. Context reveals the intricate relationship between sound and space, offering us a deeper appreciation of the sonic landscape. So let us embrace attentive listening as a tool to complement our understanding of the invisible world, for within sound's depth lie profound insights and transformative power. As we embrace the beauty and complexity of sound, we open ourselves to a deeper connection with the world, enriching our understanding of reality itself. Thank you. And of course, if you have any questions, I'm happy to address them. You have two?
Yes.
I love to hear them.
Thank you very, very much for your presentation. First of all, it was very interesting to follow your path through this magical sound world.
Thank you.
Of course, you started with more or less John Cage things with your old shoe, maybe prepared piano or something, and then these audibles, and even using this spoken word as audible, maybe.
Yes.
And
As another sound, you mean? Yes.
Yes, I know. And I don't know if you consider yourself as a sound artist or a composer, because I couldn't follow if there is some construction. There were extracts, and I couldn't follow if there is any form.
I think the easiest way to, that's the first question, right?
Yes.
Okay,
the
good.
question?
So let me answer that, and then you, okay.
Yeah.
The easiest way to answer that question is that when I was young, I was very interested in sound, and I thought that in order to explore sound, I needed to become a musician or a composer. So being in Venezuela and not knowing about other tendencies with sound, I pursued a degree in music composition, and then discovered that it wasn't enough, that I learned a lot about sound in music, but the practice of, I didn't feel like I had anything to say, so composing was really hard because nothing would come out. So I was more interested in learning and being influenced by sounds and learning things. So what I started doing was creating pieces that would somehow allow sounds that I wouldn't have never heard otherwise to appear and to be, so that I could experience them. And so I think I'm more of a sound artist, but I love music too. So I don't really know. I don't think it's important to make the distinction.
No, it is not, but there is kind of edge.
Yes.
There's kind of edge.
Well,
Very tiny, but
the advantage of calling yourself a sound artist is that museums like it.
like,
So.
you admire sound, I see.
Thank you.
And the second question, my question, why didn't you create something in this architecture? Because it has very specific sounds.
Well,
and yeah.
Thank you. I agree with you, and it would have been lovely, but I was given an even better alternative, which was to make a piece in the botanical garden. So in the botanical garden, there's this glass house with a big atrium that I was able to use as a space to create a sound piece that will open in 2 days, in Wednesday. So come and listen to it.
Okay,
It's gonna be showing until the 18th also. So there's another part of the festival that's being shown at the botanical garden. Yes, but maybe next time I'll do one here.
Okay, thank you. And still, do you use prepared piano?
Well, I think I was doing that when I was a kid because everything I could find, was in the kitchen, things that I could basically explore the inside of the piano with. Again, when I was doing that, I didn't think I was doing anything serious. I was just exploring sound. And then I learned about John Cage and doing all these things way before I even did that. So it's hard, I think that it's interesting because something was happening in the 60s. And even though we didn't have the information, there was technology available, there were recordings, there was something going on, right? That was very inspiring to young people like myself. And I think that this is, so whether I knew it or not, I'm sure Cage has something to do with with what I was doing. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you very much. Another question?
Oh yeah, I have a question. So,
Please.
Hi, my name is Evgeny. I'm also a sound art enthusiast and a composer. So first of all, I have the observation, and then I would like to ask a question.
Okay.
So this is my second week residing in Yerevan, and I'm listening to sounds a lot, and it seems to me that because of many buildings are built with tooth, using tooth material, it seems to me that it's more sound absorbing.
Uh-huh.
And this is why the whole city ambience give this feeling of vanishing sound, like it disappears somewhere in these buildings.
Yes.
So this is my observation, and I'm not fully. I don't think if I'm correct completely. But first question is do you have the same feeling, or and the second is. Do you have any other maybe sound observations in the city being present here as a sound artist?
Thank you. Yes, actually, Yerevan, it reminds me a lot of Caracas, Venezuela. And I think it's all the trees and the style of the streets and how cars park, on each side. Something about the outdoors that reminds me a lot, and the hills, the mountain thing. That is a different sound than, say, Berlin. Berlin is totally different sound. I won't go into detail as to why is it a case, because I'm not sure yet. But I know that I hear it differently. Now, in terms of spaces, I think I appreciate the fact that, a space like this absorbs sound. Like right in here, it's not quite altogether absorbent, but it absorbs enough sound that we get a chance to hear the sound source more directly. So the piece by now that was going on before the talk with this drum and this thing, it sounds really beautiful in here because every sound is clear and clean and so on. I don't miss reverberation there. As a matter of fact, I think we moved the talk from the other space, which we had last night, to this one because they told me it was too hot, but it was also very reverberant. So a lot of reverb tends to mask the voice and the clarity of speech and so on, right? So I favor clear sound because when I hear sound clearly, I can get to know what's going on. When the space is too much information in the sound, it obliterates the meaning and the clarity sometimes of the content of the sound. So this is just my own preference, and it's kind of like an outcome of the experimentation, right? Now, of course, when people design like concert halls and things like that, they actually measure the amount of reverberation they want, and that becomes what they call a very successful project. When they have, the Berlin Philharmonic plays in the beautiful, concert hall. They make all those recordings there, and we all get excited by listening to them because they're beautiful. They're really beautiful recordings. And so I think sound is all about balance, right? So balance means a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit, enough of each thing together makes really good. When there's too much bass, for instance, in a concert, you can't hear anything else. So I feel like I'm missing something, and that's just an example of what I mean. And in Jerevan, it sounds to me like there's a nice balance in sound, in general. Any other questions? Are we ready for it? Any other questions?
May I ask another, more technical question? So, you had work with wasps.
Yes.
Is it like a straightforward
Yes.
recorded sound, or is it pitched down?
No, it's a straightforward recording. Yes.
Okay.
There was a nest, and I just put the microphone inside, and that's what I heard. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So you had work, so it was 1974, right?
Yes.
How much your technique, because of the technical progress, changed from the 1974 till, for example, 2006?
I think 100%.
Okay, so you were using tapes or something like
Yes.
that, and now you're using digital audio workstations.
I am using, the computer is a fantastic tool. There are differences in the way that one medium captures sound with other mediums, but in general, for me, the use of the computer has made it so much easier to do what I do, because with tape recorders, you capture the sound and then you have to have some other tool to be able to fix it if it's not good, et cetera, and the technology today makes it so much. As a matter of fact, it's made it so that all of us have an easier time, working with sound if we wanted to. Yes.
Do you feel that it became easier, or
Yeah.
maybe complex in the way that you have more, tools to
Yes.
make your idea?
Well, I mean, what is made easier is understanding the sound that I've captured. so I have a better sense of what it is. I have pictures in the screen that show me the spectrogram of the sound, where with the tape recorders I didn't have that. And those kinds of things are really helpful. Like when you record bats, they flap their wings and we can hear that, but the cries and the calls often are way beyond our ability to hear them, well beyond like 20,000 hertz. Some of the sounds that I recorded in the Everglades are, 50,000, 60,000 hertz. That's way too high. And so when I record those sounds, I don't even know I recorded them because I couldn't hear them. So I have to go home and put them in the computer, and then when I see the spectrogram, the picture in the screen, I go like this, and then all of a sudden they are, the bats, all the way up there, like 60,000 hertz. And then so I bring them down by transposing them, a few optics down, and then you hear this, what I play. It sounds like birds, like pew, pew. But those sounds are actually happening much faster, Pew, 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 pew. They do that.
Yeah, I mean, your ecological and nature recordings are really spectacular.
Thank you.
Not talking about technique, but just in terms of principles. I think you've been doing this a long time. Can you share a little bit about the principles you use?
Okay, so I am interested in the sound of things, right? So in order to learn what the sound of something is, the clearer it is, the more I think I learn, right? So that's the one principle that I follow. So I'm interested in processing sound, for instance, et cetera, in order to create a new sound with other sound, turn one sound into another. But I became a little bored with that idea because I wasn't learning very much. I was learning about how the machine I was using could process the sound. And when I learned that, then I lost interest, right? So my principle has been, let's try to get to the meat. Where is the meat? That's a good slogan. Where's the meat? And then in performance, the same thing. And you can tell when somebody is performing, right? How there's an intensity, there's something that's undescribable that happens when people perform, and it's revealed by the sound. So the clearer the sound of that, the nicer it is for me, I think. So anyway. Any more? Any more questions? Thank you very much. You want the microphone?